Hi, everyone. Welcome back to the kingdom. How are you? Happy end of May. I know earlier I said I would do an extra episode because I forgot last month's bonus episode. So this is an extra episode. I think it's an extra episode. I believe it's an extra episode, but imagine it's not and it's just like, no, I think it's an extra episode. Yeah. And so I thought I'd do an extra episode because I missed last month's bonus episode. Don't worry, we have this month's bonus episode coming, but this is like a bonus episode. So thank you for being here. My name is Karen Adokora. If you are new here, this is Welcome to the Kingdom. So I was reflecting back on my last episode and I was like, wow, I definitely share a lot more than I should on this podcast. But I kind of have always thought of myself as like, or whatever I do online, it's like I want people to be watching the journey of a girl who gave her life to God and is just, you know, following the ups and downs of what that looks like. And, you know, it's just a journey. Like, this whole thing is a journey. And so I want you guys to just like follow me through, everything. And then soon enough, we will find ourselves at a point where we're like, wow, how did we get here? But yeah, I was I was feeling very insecure about a lot of things that I said. So I guess I'm just saying this to say that I'm breaking the ice, in case there was any ice to be broken. And I'm just saying hi again. And thank you for listening. And I definitely should keep my mouth shut sometimes, but that's okay. I have never really learned how to do that. This week, we are turning into June. What does that mean? June is approaching this month. Or June is this week. Does that even make sense? Yes. June is happening this week, guys. And we are welcoming some new things as we welcome this new month and this new week. Okay. First thing. I have been using these gel eye patches. Like, I've seen everyone use them. It's common. It's popular. I never, ever, ever used one ever before. And I finally got into the routine of using one. And I am so in love with them. Like, I know that it probably doesn't do anything, but I swear it does. And it probably does, I don't know. Maybe it's like placebo effect, but I just wear them every morning and it's starting to make a difference in my face. I don't know, but I'm also breaking out. And I don't know if it's not the eye patch. It's not the gel eye patches. It's because I've been going to bed in my makeup like consistently for absolutely no reason why I should be doing that. But I have, and I broke out on my forehead. That's besides the point. I'm loving the new gel eye patches. It's like skincare. I put it on, I feel like I'm in my fancy skincare era. I am also welcoming a whole load of like confidence. I feel like I don't know if you've been following me on Instagram, or if you follow me on Instagram, you have seen that I went to Sip and Slay on Sunday. Also, if you listen to my last episode, you know that my friend got me a Sip and Slay ticket. It was so fun. So many gems. And I think what I took away from it is like, you have to fake it till you make it. Like, wherever you want to go in life, you have to show up like you already are there to everybody. It doesn't, not that like you have to lie about what you have or your accomplishments, but like showing up confidently. Because I know that when I meet people and I introduce myself to them, or they ask me like, what do you do or something like that, I tend to undermine a lot. I tend to undermine like everything that I'm doing. Everything that I'm doing has never looked good enough in my eyes. There, I said it. But I know that it's good, you know? And I know that I'm doing something important and worthwhile and valuable, but I never say it like that. I always hi, yeah, I am trying to do this, or I kind of do this, or I dabble a little, just like trying to like make it seem small all the time. I do this all the time. Lucas gets so annoyed when he's with me and I am being introduced to somebody. He'll just like interject and be like, no, she does this, 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 and this. And I love him for that. Period, poo. But like, I need to start doing that too. So I think what I got from Sip and Slay was like showing up, being confident about your vision, your goals, whatever it is that you want to achieve, and embodying it. Because when you embody it, you become it. And when people think of that thing, they think of you. So then you're not like, I don't know if that makes sense. Like if you want to be a stylist and you have never styled anybody ever, but you love styling yourself, and you want to be a stylist, if you meet somebody, just say, I am a stylist. Even if you know, like are doing something else, or I don't know, is this bad advice? Like don't lie. And I don't know, like let's say you make YouTube videos. No, let's keep the stylist thing going. Even if you just style yourself or your friends or your mom or something, just say, I am a stylist. Hi, I'm a stylist. Or you don't have to say that's all you do. You can just say, I'm a student and a stylist and a, musician, artist, whatever. Just say it. Even if you don't feel confident about it, or you feel like it's not good enough, or it's small, or whatever, just say it. Because when that person is talking to somebody else and they go, hey, I actually need a stylist for someone, for this project, that person will be like, oh, I actually just met a stylist last week. Here's her contact. Like these things don't happen if you don't say what you're doing. And literally everything, like everyone who spoke at Sip and Slay, their achievements was a testament of their connections and them being bold and upfront about their goals and visions, and just saying it, putting it out in the universe, and just like saying it out loud for people to hear. And when people hear, they spread your name into places where your name probably would not have been mentioned if you didn't say it, if that makes sense. So I definitely took away like confidence. I'm very much bringing in confidence into this month. I'm not undermining anything. I am not. I was just about to say I'm going to try not to, but then in light of my recent advice, which is the advice I just gave 2 seconds ago, I am not undermining anything. I'm not. I am Karen Adekora. I am a social media content creator and a podcast host. Period. And an owner of a clothing brand that has been on pause for a year, but it's okay. I would just say it. And that's actually what this episode is about. So if you tuned in, you're interested in hearing about Debt to Self. But one more thing I'm welcoming before we get into that is Victory Boyd's new album. If you don't know who she is, please go listen to her new album. It's called Glory Hour. It is so good. I've never related to an album more. Like, it sounds like she wrote it in a place of waiting and pain and suffering. And it's so crazy because now she's made this incredible body of work that would not exist if she didn't go through the pain. And that's basically what I've had to learn this whole month, was that like the pain is the fuel for everything else. You don't get glory if you don't suffer. And so her album Glory Hour is kind of just like about going through the dark times in life and then, seeing God's light shine through. Oh my gosh, it's so beautiful. It's so spiritual. I've never heard anything like it. Her name is Victory. Last name Boyd. Glory Hour. Go listen to it, please. It's so good. It's so good. It's been on repeat all day. Another thing Okay, no, that's all for what I'm welcoming. What I'm exiling this month is anxiousness. I have been sitting in a bit of anxiousness, honestly, this whole month, just waiting for things to happen, waiting for people to get back to me, waiting for people to respond to my email, waiting for this opportunity to, whatever opportunity to happen, just waiting, waiting, waiting. And a lot of that waiting has just been anxiousness, anxiousness, anxiousness. Is it going to happen? Is this going to work? Are they going to get back to me? Blah, 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 blah. And I just give it all to God, Give it all to God. His plans for me are good. They do not depend on one email or one job opportunity or one statistic or insight or analytic. His plans for me are good, period. Like, it doesn't depend on anything else. So I should just let go. But it's so hard, in the moments. But that's what I'm going to be exiling this month, is anxiousness. Also, as the month comes to an end, we are ending our prayer walk. And I'm so happy because I get to sleep again. I get to sleep, guys. I get to sleep past 5:30. And this whole month has been brutal, especially the past 2 weeks, because as the month, as we draw nearer and nearer to the end, my body's like, I'm tired, I'm tired, I'm tired. And I did like waking up at 5:30, but I'm very excited to sleep in now. And I'm very thankful for God's grace that I was able to do this the whole month. I did not do it on the weekends, though. I don't know why. For some reason, the weekends, I was just like, no. So I didn't do it on the weekends. And then I think I missed like one day of like the weekday. But like the whole month, I did it, basically. The idea was there the whole month. And I'm very grateful that I was able to, like, that's like how many prayer walks? Saturday, Sunday, Saturday, Sunday, Saturday, Sunday. That's like at least 25 5:30 a.m. prayer walks. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 31 minus. Okay, maybe not. Maybe it's 22 prayer walks. But still, the whole month of May, I was able to do it. I didn't give up. I kept going. Tomorrow is the last day. The day you're listening to this is the last day. And it's not too late. Even if I didn't wake up on some days, like maybe I didn't wake up at 5:30, I would walk in the afternoon or in the evening. Just do one day, okay? Just one day. Please. It's so good if you haven't done it yet. And if you have, I would love for you to DM me and tell me, anything, your thoughts, your experience, how you felt, any questions, what happened during your walks. I would really like to know, even if you did it for a day, a couple days, you did it for 5 minutes, whatever. If you engaged in any form of prayer walk because of this podcast, please let me know. I would love to know how many people did it, because I don't know how many people did it, because I didn't create a group chat for it. I don't know why. I thought that Instagram would be enough to keep me updated, but I guess people aren't motivated to really like reach out via DM. So maybe a group chat would have been better. But next time, I'm thinking we're going to do like a fall one, maybe a September one. So one spring, one fall. And we'll see how it goes. I'm very excited. And I'm glad that you were able to join me if you were. And if you weren't, that is okay. You can do it anytime, any day. It doesn't even have to be next month or the month after that. Or just go on a prayer walk. But it has to be sometime soon. Okay? Don't never go on it. Go on it at least once. No pressure. Just go on it at least once. It's so good. You get to talk to God. You get to not me thinking about what happens in a prayer walk. You wake up early. You feel energized in the morning. You get a breath of fresh air in the morning. You get some nature. And then you get quiet, uninterrupted time with God. Because I know that when I was waking up and I was just going right to my Bible or like right to the Bible app, I would get so distracted that I wouldn't be able to just actually have genuine quiet time with God. And the prayer walks have given me an hour to do that, 30 minutes, 40 minutes, however long that I would go on it for. Today I did 20 minutes because it was so cold, but it's just so helpful and beneficial. So, yeah, that's all for that. Now we're going to be talking about death to self, all about building a clothing brand, building some sort of brand in general, just building something from scratch. Like, I've always seen the quote that to have an idea and to birth it into real life is a spiritual experience. And I 100% agree. There is truly nothing like imagining something in your head and then actually giving it life, like making it come to you in physical form, doing all the necessary work that you need to for it to be a physical thing. It's incredible. It takes a lot of work. It takes a lot of mental. Wow. I feel like the era that I was in when I created Dead to Self was definitely like, it was definitely very, I don't know, I was on fire. I was on go mode. I was on one, to say the least. And I think that girl is still in me. I think that fire is still in me. I put it on pause because there's just been so much going on. I moved to New York City. I just didn't have the time for it because right when I moved, I got into a full-time job and I wasn't able to do anything. And then I don't even know. You know what I mean? Like, it also takes a lot of money to go into these things. And so I have just put it on pause till I'm in the place where I can do it again. All of my resources that I was using were back in Massachusetts. I haven't built a network of like manufacturers or printers, designers, whatever team, like whatever it was that helped me make it in Massachusetts. I haven't built that network yet, so I have just put it on pause. And also because there's just so much that I do that I just don't have the time. I don't have the time and the resources for it at the moment. But it will be coming back soon, and I'm trying everything in my power. It is a priority of mine to bring it back because I loved it so much. I did. And whether that it comes back in a form, I don't know. Will it come back in clothing form? Will it come back? Whatever form that Dead to Self comes back in, be prepared to receive it. That's all I'm going to say. But okay, so let's begin with the who, what, when, where, why, how. The 5 W's and the 1 H of what Death to Self, the brand, is. So, who? Me and the Holy Spirit. The name Death to Self came to me actually, when I was in bed one day and I was talking to someone about the spiritual journey that I was going on, and I told them that it felt like I was killing myself. It felt like I was in the process of killing who I was. And so I made a YouTube video titled, I Am in the Process of Killing Me. And from there, I started a series called Death to Self because that's what it felt like. And it was extremely biblical because the Bible talks about dying to self a lot. And it was never real to me until then. So that's where Death to Self came from. Me and the Holy Spirit. Most importantly, the Holy Spirit through me. I had no part in it. It was not a collab. It was like God needed a medium to do it through. It could have been anybody. He just was like, I was just open. And he was like, okay, here's Death to Self. I was like, okay, cool. I'd always wanted to start a clothing brand. I loved streetwear. I was also in my streetwear era, which is why I say that maybe it won't come back in the form of clothing, because I don't know if I'm really passionate about making clothes. I know I'm passionate about designing, but it could be anything. And I'm passionate about storytelling. I think all the pieces was to tell a story, and the story was dying to self. So I'm passionate about storytelling. It doesn't matter how I do it, whether it's in a podcast, clothes, a hat, a video, an Instagram post, a story. I don't know. Whatever it is, I love telling stories. So I feel like the story of dying to self is continuously ongoing. And at that particular time, I cannot speak today. At that particular time, I was in my streetwear era. So that is the medium that I used to tell my story, was with streetwear. I had wanted to create a brand for so long. And it was like a year, honestly, in the making of me thinking about a name for a clothing brand, thinking about designs, hitting up designers, hitting up like I was just like, so many people were like making sketches and prototypes and things, and nothing really felt right, because the name of the brand first was Adokora. I still think it's a sick name for a brand. Nobody steal it. Just my last name. I think it's a beautiful name for a brand. And, I was sold on that name. So everything I designed was around that name. But there was nothing that made it stand out. It's like, why would anybody buy a shirt with Adokora on it? Like, it just didn't make sense. Like, what is it about the name? What is it about me as a person? What is the message? What is the value? I have to put myself in a buyer's point of view. And I know that a lot of you guys listening are creative and want to create things. You have to take yourself outside of creator to consumer. I will not just come across a brand called Adokora and buy something if it didn't mean anything. So what was the message? And there was no message. The message was just like, I thought streetwear was cool and I wanted to create something. So then I got a name and started creating it, and it was just like, what is it about? What is the selling point here, So after months of thinking about designing, nothing ever clicking, I just stopped. I was like, okay, I'm just going to have to put a pause on this, because clearly nothing is coming to me to make this valuable to somebody else. I don't see the message I'm trying to send. I don't see why anybody should buy this. No offense to me, but So I put a pause on it. And then I gave my life to Christ June something 2021. I think it's June 19th. I believe it's June 19th. Yes. I gave my life to God. And in the following days to come, everything started coming to me. And it felt like the only thing I needed to do was give my life to God. And then everything that I had been looking for, the message, the value of the brand, the story I was trying to tell, everything came to me after I gave my life to God. It was just like a downpour, a download of information and ideas and visions. And even the name of the brand, the name switched from it being my name to Death to Self, which is a testimony in itself of dying to self. I literally gave up the brand being my name to something that was about God. And so if that isn't death to self in itself, I don't even know. But yeah, I had to scratch all the designs with Adokora on it, just like start from square one. And I was like, okay, wow, finally, this is the message I'm trying to tell. And this is the story worth telling. The story of dying to yourself is a story worth telling. And it's a message worth sending out into the universe. So that is the who, that is the what. Death to Self is a clothing brand about, my spiritual journey. And People loved it. I'm not going to say I didn't make a lot of mistakes with the process of making this. I think I definitely was not patient enough. I wasn't careful. I just didn't take my time. I definitely rushed into things, and I can admit it. I rushed into a lot of things. So I feel like it wasn't as amazing. The products weren't, I don't know. Let me not say that, because that's also like me undermining myself. But the idea, the design, everything was amazing, incredible. I love everything. I wouldn't change a thing. I just think the products itself, but that's so crazy because I love everything that I made. I don't know. I see, this is the thing. I think my brain is trying to upper limit myself and be like, okay, but I definitely did make some mistakes, but I loved everything that I made. Okay. Could they have been better? I think that's what I'm trying to get at. Could they have been better? Yes. With more time, they could have been better. I think I was impatient. And that's what I'm trying to say. So that's the who, that's the what. When? The when is, I think, September 2021. I released my first couple pieces. And then after that, I released the first couple pieces was a hoodie, sweatpants, 2 tote bags, and 1 trucker hat. Lots of inventory. So fun. Everything was so fun to make, to produce, to shoot, to send out. The whole process was so fun, but I had to learn very quickly because, mind you, I'm starting a brand out of nothing. I don't know anything about starting a brand. So if this is you, just know that you can go from zero to knowing how to get it done, basically. I had to learn everything one by one by one. But it was worth it. Where? It took place in my mom's basement in Massachusetts. Between my mom's basement and my college dorm was where all the action happened, from the designing to the meetings I had to have, team calls, budgeting, spending, taking in samples, contacting whoever I needed to contact. Everything happened in Massachusetts. And then why? I think I already gave the why to tell a story about dying to self. And how? The last question is how. And I think the how is what I'm going to answer through you guys' questions. So if you follow WTTK Podcast on Instagram, I shared, a little question box. If you guys have any questions on the ins and outs of how to build a brand, send them through there. Any podcast related questions that I'm going to have people submit, I am going to I'm going to post it on the podcast for the Instagram. So please follow the podcast for the Instagram. I know I used to have an Instagram page and I deleted it. Literally my biggest mistake, because it was like 1,000 followers, and now it's like we're 1 away from 400, which is fine, humble beginnings. I'm very happy about it. But yeah, definitely follow it. Let's get it to 500 by the end of the week. So if you're listening to this, please pause, follow the podcast on Instagram, because that's where I post all the IG submissions and polls, and that's where I get to hear from you guys. Okay, so I'm going to answer some questions. We might not get to all of them, but I'm going to just basically answer the how. Okay. What was your production/manufacturing process like? So that is a question from AJ. The manufacturing and production process in the early stages was very easy for me because my church back home in Massachusetts, they had a kind of production team that would produce all the church merch and all the church merch, basically all the church merch. I don't know what else. All the church merch they produced. And if we had a program, like an event, they would make t-shirts for it and stuff like that. So when I had the idea for the brand, my friend Sam was like, hey, you should go talk to these people. They know how to do it. They know how to make stuff. And it was heat pressed. So the hoodies and the sweatpants were heat pressed. That's one mistake that I definitely made, because heat press peels after time. I'm very lucky with some of the products that I have, though, because a lot of my sweatpants and the hoodies that I have personally that I kept for myself, they haven't peeled yet. But I definitely got a lot of emails where people were like, my hoodie is peeling, And so that's one mistake that I did. But basically, manufacturing was that I ordered the blanks, which was a whole process in itself, trying to figure out which wholesale person I should get my hoodies from, like the blank ones. I knew what color I wanted. It was just now like, what website should I get these blanks from? And I definitely am a person that thinks very big. And so obviously I went with the most expensive blank I could have found. Like, I could have definitely gotten a cheaper blank to reduce my cost. But it just ended up that like my cost and my revenue was almost the exact same, that I didn't make any money from it because I did not minimize my costs. And that's also a question that someone else asked, was there any mistakes you made? I definitely could have minimized my costs a lot. And so, you do these things and you learn. But manufacturing, I had to find blanks. And blanks are just like, blanks. A blank shirt, a blank hoodie, a blank anything. Whatever you're making, a tote bag, a hat, you have to get the blank unless you want to make it from scratch. And I know nothing about sewing or putting things together. So I had to get a blank. And that's what a lot of brands do. They buy blanks from manufacturers and then they put their design on them. So you're selling the design basically. And I went online and I searched, where all my favorite brands got their blanks. And I got my blanks from a place called Original Favorites, I believe. There is also another place called, Los Angeles Apparel is a really good one. And something else, I forgot. But I know I got mine from Original Favorites, and they were probably the most expensive option. Oh, Rue Porter has blanks as well. But I definitely should have gone a place where the blanks weren't so expensive. But that's about that. So got the blanks, and then I sent it over to friends at the church and said, hey, here are my blanks. Here's my design, And they did a lot of the manufacturing, like basically all the manufacturing for the hoodies and the sweatpants were made by them. They heat pressed every single one. I could not have done it without them. So, yeah. And they had done a lot of printing, for, like I said, for the church merch. So they knew where to get, how to print the design on the transparent sheets that you heat press with and all that stuff. So yeah, it took it took a long time though to come together and figure out where we're ordering the blanks from, where we're ordering the design vinyl from. I also hired a designer. He happened to be Ghanaian. Found him on Instagram. He was making like Christian graphic design on Instagram. I found him and I said, he is the one that I want. He lives in Ghana, actually. So I was so happy when I found him because I wanted a black creator. It felt better to me that I would be supporting a black business. So I wanted to hire somebody that was black. And him being Ghanaian was even way better. So, and that also took a lot of work. I had to go through, hashtags, like hashtag Christian graphic design, hashtag CG. There's a hashtag that they use. I don't know, like CG something. I just was going through all the like Christian pages and seeing who was designing what, and then seeing if they could, asking them for their rates on if they were to make a design for me. And so everything just took intentionality and being, basically just spending time trying to get the answer to your question. So if you want a designer, you have to spend time trying to get the answer to your question. Where am I going to get blanks from? It takes time to get the answer to your question. And the blanks too was like, what material, how many threads, what percentage cotton, how does it fit? Is it a boxy cut? Is it loose? How thick is it? All these things. I could not have done it without YouTube, Reddit, Google. Every single question you have, please Google it. I know I get a lot of questions in my DMs about like really specific things. Please Google it. I'm not trying to be rude or like sarcastic. Google has the answer to everything. It doesn't even matter how big you think your question is or how small. Google or YouTube has the answer to everything. So yeah. And then the hats and the totes, I had to go through Alibaba.com. And that also took a lot of time because you have to get samples from them. You have to get quotes and like compare prices, compare quality of work, compare examples. But if you go to Alibaba.com, literally anything that you're trying to make, you will find somebody who can make it. That's like the easiest route. I know there's other ways to do it, but that's how I did it. Okay, so many questions are like, are you ever going to sell more shirts? When is it coming back? When's the next drop? Oh man, I don't know. Soon though, I am praying to God that I will be able to do something very, very soon. What resources did you use? Software, skills, people. So for software, for my website, I used Squarespace. I also had to compare, Squarespace versus like what's the others? Shopify versus like the other one, the most popular one. It starts with like a W. I forgot. Yeah, compare website hostings. I also had to find someone to do the website for me, which I definitely could have done myself, but I don't know, I was just overwhelmed. So yeah, I used Squarespace, and then I used Stripe for like all payments and stuff. I definitely used Procreate in creating the design, and took a lot of inspiration from brands that I already know and love, and lots of practice. Skills I used, being able to efficiently or effectively communicate exactly what it is I want, budgeting, inventory, accounting, a lot of administrative tasks. Where to start? Someone asked where to start. I think it all starts with an idea. I think write your idea down. The Bible says, write your vision, make it plain. So write your idea down and then start with research. How do I get this idea done? 1, idea. 2, inspiration. If it's a completely new idea and there's no inspo for it, then I don't know. But I feel like there's really nothing new under the sun. So if you have an idea, most likely someone has done something similar to it. Research and inspiration is key. If someone has done something that I am inspired by, I do everything I can to learn. I will type, like even this afternoon, I typed this girl's name on podcast, this digital influencer that I know, because I love what she's doing. So I type her name in the podcast app and see if she's been interviewed by anybody. Boom, she's been interviewed by like 5 different podcasts. Save it all. I'm going to listen to it all because I want to learn what she has to say. So find out who or what you're inspired by. Try your very best, everything you can to learn from them, even if it's someone as big as like, I don't know, Virgil Abloh, or like your neighbor, go up to them. Virgil, Google on YouTube, search on YouTube. So it all starts with writing your idea, being super specific with it, finding inspiration. Once you find the inspiration, knowledge and learning. Take the time to learn every single thing you can. And then by learning, you are closer to actually birthing that idea into life, because now you know what it takes to get there. You know what they did, you know how they went about it, whatever. Google and YouTube are your biggest resources, and Reddit. Idea, inspo, research. And then action time. You take it one item at a time. If it's just picking out a name for whatever venture it is, just pick out the name. Then maybe create a logo. And if you're not artistic, find someone online, someone who designs stuff, and say, hey, I want this person to make a logo for me. Take it step by step. And then next, maybe the website. And then next is like a sample of your idea. So just take it step by step, one day at a time. Do not overwhelm and try and do everything at once. Just like one day, have a deadline for yourself. By this week, I will have a name of all the vendors. Or by this week, I will have just brainstorm ideas. By this week, I will have ideas for a name, for the brand, something like that. Okay. Yeah, me again said, how did you create a platform where you were able to put yourself out there? I think I've always felt like I had something to say. It goes back to storytelling. I feel like I always had a story to tell. So it was easy for me. I also feel like I grew up loving the camera and, just being in front of cameras, anything digitally. So it was easy for me to start the YouTube, the podcast, Instagram, because I felt like I had something to tell and show. And sometimes if you don't, you don't. Like, if I have nothing to say, which is rare, I won't say anything. But I always feel like I have something to say, so I say them. How did you finance your brand? I had saved a ton. I worked a lot in school and over the summers. And also my YouTube channel was doing very well. So I was having a lot of sponsorships, lots of AdSense. And then also it was right after the pandemic. It was right after the height of the pandemic that I created the brand. So I was saving up all my unemployment money. The pandemic unemployment assistance came in handy. So yeah, it was mostly just my job. I was able to finance it because I had a job and I was saving up, and I also was able to get unemployment assistance when the pandemic hit. So I had a decent savings. And I was able to put all of that money into the brand. It definitely cost a lot, like thousands of money. But I think it was worth it. I know it was worth it because it was a God idea, and all God's ideas are worth it. What are the size ranges for the brand? So the only thing that would need a size would be the hoodie and the sweatpants. Oh, I forgot that I made the tank tops. Yes, the Jesus Freak tank tops. Those were my favorites. But also that is something that I could have put more time and intentionality behind. I loved the person who I found. He was a local Boston screen printer. He screen printed all the tanks. And sourcing the tanks, I sourced them from Hanes. That was fun. So yeah, it was actually fun. I love the tanks. The size ranges definitely like from, I think I had small to XL. Yes. And then the tanks were kind of like a one size fits all situation where I got a men's like large or a men's medium. So it was able to fit like a woman's large or a woman's small. You just kind of like made do with what you know. I had small, medium, large, extra large. So basically from small to extra large. I feel like my audience isn't so wide, so I was not thinking of more smaller sizes or more larger sizes. I was just thinking of like, okay, the audience pool that I have, I feel like they will be within this range, but obviously I don't know that. And yeah, I needed to make a size for a friend and I wasn't able to because I didn't buy the blanks for it. So that was definitely a mistake on my part. And I think that's something I definitely need to prioritize next time, is thinking of every size range. Obviously, I don't know. I feel like I don't know the extent I can go or what even I'm going to do next, but prioritizing more sizes would be good. Going in a double XL is necessary, absolutely necessary. And then an extra small, that's also necessary as well. Because I remember I used to be literally probably like an XXS. And yeah. What? So yeah, basically all these are, when are you going to sell more things? These are all your questions. When are you going to sell more things? I do not have an answer for you, but I love that you're interested, and it makes me very, very happy that you guys want to get more stuff. That definitely gets my gears going, gets me thinking about what to work on next, because I've kind of been in a little limbo where I have been, I don't even know. So I haven't thought about that to self in a while, reflecting on the journey and thinking about, everything. Going back in time a little bit has been it's been healing for me to be able to talk about it. I feel like I never explicitly talked about the brand or how I did it. I'm looking to interview a clothing brand owner soon. So hopefully he will have some more insights because he is way more successful than I am. Pray that the interview gets to happen. But yeah, I love being able to reflect on that to self. It was a long time coming, and it took a village. My mom, my sister, they helped me pack all the orders, getting a label printer, getting Pirate Ship, a website where I can even print the labels. Every little detail I was helped by a friend or a relative. My friend Nick shot the promo shot. Ashan helped me shoot the promo for the Chocomilo trucker hats. My friends and all of you guys that bought anything, that was so kind. You took a chance on me. Because what? You didn't know what you were getting, but you took a chance on me. And for that, I am thankful. And so, yeah, this is just a little recap. I will end with this last question that says, what are things you wish you were told before you started? Before I started Debt to Self, I think that's a great question to end. I wish I was told that. I guess I wish I was told all the unforeseeable, circumstances or events, people that are not happy with their order, or a mess up or a charge. Like, I didn't even think that securing a website would require a yearly subscription, or securing like a website name, the domain. So I wish I was just told all the little things that can happen, but obviously you don't know what can happen till you are actually on the journey. because everything that happens is unique to your brand. So, or whatever it is that you're trying to build, you don't know all the unforeseeable little things that, can happen. But I wish I was told all of that so that I could avoid them. But if I was to avoid them, then I wouldn't have learned anything. And so that's, the same theme of suffering and glory comes in hand. Comes in hand. Yeah, it comes in hand right now, because you have to go through little mistakes and mishaps. And, I also definitely wish I was told to make contracts. I wish I was told to, I guess, prioritize the relationships of the people that I was working with. Maybe stand up for myself, say what I wanted to say, but also be more kind and forgiving. Understand that we're all like learning things, So I don't know if that made sense. But yeah, I wish I was told that working with people was not going to be easy, that there were so many little hidden bumps that are just going to spring up and you have to figure out. And that, but most importantly, I think this is the number one, I wish that somebody told me to take my time and say, you don't need to release this now. Just take your time. I think everything happens for a reason. So the time I released it was perfect and everything happened the way that it was supposed to. But I wish somebody told me, just be more intentional. Take more time with the actual physical product. Instead of rushing to get the idea out, take more time with the physical product and more thought and more research. Because more time, more research, more learning, more knowledge never hurt nobody. So yeah. Thank you for listening. This was basically a little recap of all about starting a clothing brand. I know I didn't go into every step of the way, but there was so much. So I hope that you learned something in this, and I hope that you're inspired to embark on your journey. It was so worth it. Whatever it is that you're trying to do, it takes a lot of work, it takes a lot of time, it takes a lot of learning, but you don't get to birth an idea into life if you don't put in all the hard work it takes to get there. You can't just wish something into being. It exists in your head and then you build it out. And so don't be discouraged or don't be scared if the thing that you want to do seems impossible. This is speaking to me right now because there's something I want to do soon that seems so scary and impossible to me in this moment, but it is also exciting. And I was listening to a podcast and she said, if your next step doesn't scare the crap out of you, then actually she didn't say it like that. She said your next step should scare the crap out of you, because that is what's going to take you to the next level, the next realm. Your next step should scare you. And so I'm very, very excited, and I'm praying for you, whatever it is that you want to do. If it scares you, that's good, because it's going to grow you. So, yeah. Thank you for listening. I love you. I do. And I will be talking to you in my next episode, which will be Friday, bonus episode. Then you're going to get one on Monday. How crazy is that? Okay. I'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.